Hello and welcome to Quartzlight, your car brochure channel, and in today's episode, the Triumph Dolomite 1500 SE. Hello and welcome back. If you're new to Quartzlight, we're a car brochure channel here on YouTube looking at car brochures from around the world for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s and sometimes beyond that as well. So if you're interested in cars, looking back at cars gone by, car brochures, but most of all car memories, then please do consider subscribing. It is all completely free. Anyway, back to today's episode. Yes, we're going to be looking at the Triumph Dolomite 1500 SE because it's a Saturday. Now every Saturday, or most Saturdays, here on Quartzlight, we look at special edition versions of very different makes and models of car. Today is no exception with this special edition Dolomite. A particular car that was actually reminded to me by one of the viewers actually in one of the comments. They said, why don't you do the Triumph Dolomite 1500 SE in your Saturday special episodes? And I thought, yes, why not? Thank you for being reminded of that, because it is certainly an interesting special edition. And always, for me, the most interesting special editions are always like late 70s, early 80s for some reason. I always find them ones the most fascinating. Anyway, before I start wittering on, let's put this brochure on the board and have a look at this unusual special edition. And here is today's brochure. It says at the top there, a black beauty, the Triumph Dolomite 1500 SE. They all came in black, so hence why. An unusual front cover really, with this black and grey sort of design, and overall quite an unusual special edition, to be honest with you. So the body shell itself, it's just a basic 1500, look, just single headlamps, but we'll look, the interior is quite a bit of luxury in there, a bit of burr walnuts, etc. Nice seats, nice carpet, but like I say, all painted black, and they actually had silver stripes running the full length of them as well. And I guess that's why there's this black and silver front cover shown here. This particular brochure doesn't have a date, but I know the SEs came out in 79. And certainly the Dolomite was looking a little bit old-fashioned compared to the competition by 79. And what do most manufacturers do when they're struggling for sales? They bring out a special edition. Of course they do. Why not? Anyway, let's open the brochure up and let's see what little extras we got with this particular special edition. Actually, just before we do open it up, I think we should at least zoom in on this main image, because I must admit the other main image on the next page isn't that great, and this black and white theme is great in saying, yeah, this is a black and silver car. It's not the best imagery. I kind of like wish there was actually a real colour photo somewhere in this brochure, but sadly not. But like I say, when we zoom in there, we can see that the body shell itself is quite a basic version of the Dolomite, but we do have this unusual stripe, very much a 70s sort of stripe. You can certainly see, Ford using very nice stripes on their cars, and also an interesting wheel as well. Very unusual design wheel with this sort of like chrome or silver look, sort of this beauty ring round the outside, possibly a Spitfire wheel. I'm not sure. And then if we move the camera up a little bit, kind of gives you a glimpse on the inside head restraints as well, which is nice to see. And we can see that silver stripe goes the full length of the car. Certainly looking aging though, isn't it, with all this bright work on the wipers. We've even got a Quartzlight, and I'm sure at this time a lot of people was thinking this doesn't really fit in with the cars that are coming out at this time, but BL, we know the story. They brought cars out too late and they left them for too long. Although I do have a bit of a soft spot for the Dolomite. I always thought it was a very interesting car, and you get quite sporty in the larger engine variants as well. So I do like the Dolomite. Yes, it was long in the tooth. Yes, it looked quite old-fashioned towards what cars were being sold at this time. Hot hatch era was coming very close, So it certainly wasn't a striking design, but also when you look at the car that replaced it, the Triumph Acclaim, you could also argue that wasn't really a cutting-edge design, although it was an extremely good, reliable vehicle. So, like I say, let's open the brochure up and see what else we can learn about this model. Now, as we open this brochure, we're greeted with some nice images, and we'll kind of like learn that actually it's a really nice special edition, even though it's very dated by this time. We'll read some of the text and we'll look at some of these images and have a look and be reminded that it was a bit quite luxurious, I guess, on the inside. Anyway, let's read the text. It tells us there's never been a Dolomite like this before. As well as possessing all those qualities for which the Triumph marque is renowned, this special edition is equipped with a range of additional features. Its individuality is further enhanced by the exclusive black and silver finish, and because only 2,500 of these black beauties are being produced. Now, I did read somewhere actually there was only 2,163 of these actually produced, which is a strange number. Maybe they didn't find as many sales as they hoped and kind of like axed it a bit early. I'm not sure. Anyway, the interior specifications is sumptuous, deep cut pile carpets, elegantly complementing the grey velvet seat facings. Windows are tinted, and the front screen is XXX 1020 super laminated glass, the most advanced windscreen in the world. It goes on to show us this little image of this push button radio, which it tells us is standard. And then moving down, it tells us the fascia and door cappings are finished with real burr walnut veneer. High quality push button radio is fitted as standard, as are handsome upholstered head restraints. And then shows us a wheel, quite oddly. But that kind of like wheel does remind me of something. Are those from a Spitfire? Certainly that sort of Spitfire style anyway, but I do like them. They do look very nice on this particular special edition. Let's just have a look at this 1977 Leyland Cars all model catalogue. Let's move to the Spitfire page and see if that is the same wheel. So there is the Spitfire. It's only a small image. I've zoomed in as much as I could. So yeah, it looks exactly the same wheel, minus that sort of like chrome or silver looked beauty ring on it. So that's interesting that they pulled that out of the parts bin for this special edition. Okay, so moving back to our main brochure for the Dolomite SE, and then let's just zoom in on that rear end. We can see how it's badged at the back there, Dolomite 1500, very nice. More importantly, although that little SE, which is at the end of that sort of silver side stripe, which looks very nice actually. It tells us the dramatic black and silver exterior is highlighted by a purposeful front spoiler and special styled steel wheels with chrome trims. Rare beauty, luxury and value for only 2,500 fortunate owners. The main image actually isn't the best. I think they could have made a better picture than this, but it kind of gives you an idea of how this side stripe goes across. I think where it's at though is the interior, and that does look nice. It's an unusual paper material actually, so there is a little bit of funny reflections. It's quite a thick paper actually, quite a quality for what it is. But yeah, I think the interior would be what would sell me on this car. Sit inside, see all that lovely burr walnuts, and then not only that, it's not only on the dash, it's on the door cappings there. I'd be of course sold on the quarter lights, which we can see there, although certainly by this time quite old fashioned to have opening quarter lights. Lovely seats though, and head restraints were a time when you didn't necessarily have to have head restraints in the UK, and what looks like quite a nice, I know there's lots of reflections, I do apologise, but what looks like quite nice carpeting. So overall the interior is what I would class as being a bit of a luxury item. From the outside it looks like quite a base model Dolomite, so I find that interesting. Together with that nice stripe and those wheels, I think overall it's quite an attractive special edition. Okay, so I think it's fair to bring this brochure back once again for 1977. Let's just have a look at the Dolomite range. And let's just see how that kind of like compares and where this special edition would kind of like fit in and what they've actually used to make this special edition. So you had your 1300, your 1500, your 1500 HL, and if I do turn the page, you also at the top there got your 1850 HL and your Sprint. In fact, when we looked through this brochure, I decided that was probably my favourite. Probably the model I would have took was the 1850 HL, which in fact had quite a nice gold stripe on it actually. But moving back, this particular special edition would have been based on this lowly 1500 with these sort of single lights. If we look down, when we moved up to the HL, we got these twin headlamps. But let's just have a quick look at the 1500 interior in standard form. You can see it's more of a black affair, not all that burr walnuts on that. The burr walnut was more something you would get on your 1500 HL, but with that you got a different look entirely. So you got this sort of twin headlamp front end, so a little bit of an unusual special edition where it's almost a mixture between the more basic 1500 and the HL there. So unusual choice to go for that sort of single headlamp look. So from the outside it certainly looks like a much lower model than what it felt like when you actually went on the inside. I just thought it might be interesting just to have a look at, just to see how that this is. It's quite a standard looking 1500 with those lights, but with this fancy interior and these nice wheels. And quite often with special editions, the port's been specials to a certain degree, and well, nothing wrong with that if it sells the car, and certainly they needed to sell this car late on. Anyway, let's move to the back page and look at the specs. As we move to the back cover, it's a similar theme, this sort of black and silver theme. It does say specifications, there's not a great deal of specifications, to be honest with you. It doesn't go into great deal detail, but we will have a look at that. So it tells us the Dolomite 1500 Special Edition is based on the Dolomite 1500 with the following additions variations: road wheels and tyres, pressed steel styled road wheels with 155 SR13 radial ply tyres and bright trims, electrical, cigar lighter and push button radio, black paint finish only on the coachwork, silver body side stripe with SE insignia, bright finisher on lower rear panel, front spoiler, tinted glass all round, full width burr walnut veneer fascia panel, grey cut pile carpet, burr walnut veneer door cappings, seat wearing surfaces trimmed with grey velvet, front head restraints with grey velvet facings, door sill finishers, gearbox 4-speed manual transmission only is your only option at this time. Overall, I think it makes for a very nice special edition, and I would certainly have been tempted if I was in the market for such a car in '79. I must admit, I think I would have preferred this over an Escort. Is that weird of me to say? But it seems certainly a better quality product. Okay, so then we get the official certified fuel consumption figures for the Dolomite 1500. So simulated urban driving at 26.1 miles per gallon. At 56 miles per hour, we get 43.1 miles per gallon. And at 75 miles per hour, we get 28 miles per gallon. Says the figures for your car may differ. Just a bit of a clause just in case you're not getting the fuel economy figures. And a bit of a important clause, saying BL constantly improves specification. And then if we move down, we see the lovely Triumph badge, which will be next seen on the Triumph Acclaim, of course. And at the bottom there, Jaguar, Rover, Triumph Limited, Browns Lane, Allersley, Coventry CV5 9DR. and something we often saw lithographed by the Newfield Press Limited, Cowley, Oxford, England. No date on this one, but like I say, these did come out in 1979. So there we go, what an interesting special edition. How much were these? I can hear you shouting from the peanut gallery there. Well, in the 18th of June 1979, retail price after tax and VAT and all that nonsense was £4,179.76. Would you have been tempted? Do you remember these special editions? Please jot it in the comments. Love reading every single one of your comments. There's some real interesting stuff that I learn bits and pieces, and certainly if you're a viewer, have a look in the comments section. Interesting stuff there, no doubt. But overall, thank you so much for watching Course Light today, and a Black Beauty, the Triumph Dolomite 1500 SE Special Edition. Tempting, and of course not many sold, so a little bit exclusive, a little bit of a limited edition as well, so you probably wouldn't have seen one coming in the opposite direction, which is always nice to have that sort of feeling, isn't it? Anyway, thank you for watching today, and of course, as we always say, please do subscribe and like and all that. It's completely free, helps the channel, takes you seconds to do, and helps you find the videos you want to see, of which there are many. I think almost 500 now, so I'm sure there is something that you will be interested in, and it's always interesting to see these special editions, I feel. I'm going to put a couple of boxes on the screen also. Those boxes are for other episodes. You can just click on those, take you to another episode. You may be interested in those as well. I might put this Leyland Cars all model catalogue in there. We did a long series of those. It might be something you're interested in if you're interested in the Dolomite as well. We did look at the Dolomite in a bit more detail. But we'll end by saying thank you so much for watching today. Have a fantastic weekend no matter what you're doing. We'll see you very soon. Take care and goodbye.